and that's The Angle. Here to react is Texas Congressman Wesley Hunt. Congressman, look, defunding the police, it's a major part of the DSA platform, along with, quote, freedom for all incarcerated people. Do the people of Texas want this? You see Tallarico, he's playing this game with his rhetoric about police and defund the police. Your sense about how this is ultimately playing out?
This is not going to play out well in Texas at all. And quite frankly, ma'am, that's just not how we roll. Keep in mind that 75% of Americans are never going to commit a crime in their lives and never going to go to jail. 20% of Americans are going to commit a small petty crime that's not that big of a deal. 5% of Americans are committing the majority of the violent crimes in this country. And I am sick and tired of watching Democrats defend them. But it's okay. Look no further to what's happening in Maine right now with Grant Plattner. You have a guy who is a devout Nazi, has a Nazi tattoo, and that now he won't even back down unless he gets to pick his successor. He's going to be very disappointed to find out that Hitler, Himmler, and Goebbels are not going to be available.
We're going to get to that, Congressman.
Exactly
we're going to stay focused.
Going.
Yeah, Congressman, we're going to get to that in another segment.
Of course.
So don't get ahead of us. But we want to focus on this issue of crime because he's in the same vein, obviously, and that's a separate drama. But a few months ago, Politico reported that Democrat consultants and pollsters are trying to revamp Democrats' crime messaging, and they're urging candidates to project toughness on crime and to campaign against traditionally law and order focused Republicans for making cities less safe, of course, by slashing federal funding. So that's how they're going to try to turn this on Republicans. Will that be successful as they get closer, as we all get closer to these midterms?
Well, no, because especially here in Texas, we are a law and order state, and we don't need fewer police, man. We need more police. And you were talking about the people that are the most vulnerable around us. They are the ones that are going to suffer the most when these criminals are not being put away. And what liberals do is they do this. They always go to racism. They always go to police are racist. They always go to, well, if you're a conservative Republican and you want law and order, that means you are going against black people and brown people because you hate them, which is the most ridiculous thing that I could ever imagine. And I am somebody that believes that these people get up every single day to risk their lives. These ICE agents are getting rid of millions of people that have no business being in this country in the first place. And to watch Democrats defend people that have no business being here in the first place and go so hard in the paint for them is something that I cannot fathom. But here in Texas, we're not going to play those games. But when you live in places like New York and California and other cities, when you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. And I am so glad that going into the midterms, they're exposing themselves for exactly who they are. And as these communities get less and less safe, as crime begins to spike, they're going to realize that these anti-police policies are not what's in the best interest of Americans.
Well, you know, what I remember was back in March, I believe, there was a deputy sheriff in Texas who was run over by, I believe it was an illegal immigrant who was trying to pull over for a traffic stop, run over and ultimately was killed. It was a horrific loss for the police community in Texas, and yet another casualty of, again, attacks on law and order. They look the other way, but when there's a police-involved shooting involving an illegal alien, the left will seize on that and try to vilify all of ICE, all of border enforcement as a bunch of thugs. So the police lives don't matter, but the criminals' lives are always protected, always.
Yeah, and I thought all lives mattered. And as somebody that has chosen to defend this country by serving in the armed forces, I can tell you that these people that put this badge on every single day to defend us, they are the best of us all. And I heard a story from a spouse one day. She told me that the sound of Velcro, meaning that when her husband comes home and he takes off his Velcro and she hears that, it means that he returned home safely and he still has his life. And when I hear stories like that and what these people do to put their lives in the way to ensure that we have a safer society and to watch them get demonized, is utterly disgusting. Are we perfect? Of course not. But given the fact that we're the third largest country in the entire world and we have a very high police rate in our country, I would argue that these people do it better than anywhere in the entire world. And I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, we're just watching this video. These young people feel absolutely entitled to attack and beat this police officer in the head and whack her with sticks. She would have been killed. If there was no one else around there, I don't doubt for one a minute that she wouldn't have been killed. And there wouldn't have been many tears on the left if that officer was killed. There would have been perfunctory comments, maybe. There wouldn't be many tears.
Well, this is also why we have to get back to the basics. You know, I have 3 little ones at my house, man. The one thing that I do is whenever we walk by a police officer, I ensure that they shake their hand. I ensure that they say hello and they say thank you, because this is the values of the conservative party. We have to understand that we respect law enforcement, we expect officers, and we respect those that live their lives in a lot to keep us safe.
Congressman, that video of the wages of the anti-police rhetoric and the constant defamation of law enforcement in this country, that's what they created. Congressman, thank you, my friend.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.